To avoid getting in trouble, the cheerleading captain agrees to date a nerdy teen in exchange for $1,000. In Arizona, Ronald spends his summer mowing lawns to earn money. While he's working, his schoolmates Cindy, Patty, and Barbara arrive after a day of shopping. Cindy's mother, who owns the house, scolds her daughter for being irresponsible with money and compares her to Ronald. Hearing his name, the man accidentally makes a mess on the lawn, making Cindy chuckle at the idea of him being better than her. Cindy and her friends then excitedly watch TV as the former's boyfriend, Bobby, is being interviewed. The football player has moved to the city for college, so he's asked what he misses in his hometown. The ladies think he'll mention Cindy, but instead, Bobby says he misses the massage machine from their high school. This makes her friend feel sorry for her, but Cindy trusts that her boyfriend has a lot on his mind right now. She then urges them to go to practice, and when her friends aren't looking, she tosses Bobby's football jacket aside, clearly bothered that he wasn't thinking of her in his interview. Later, Ronald passes by the cheerleaders practicing and gazes at Cindy when his friend, Kenneth, arrives. He asks his friend about his progress in saving up for a telescope, but Ronald is more concerned with the idea of hanging out with the cool kids. Kenneth points out that he's been mowing Cindy's lawn for 5 years, yet the woman doesn't acknowledge him. He concludes that Ronald has a crush on her, which his friend denies. They head to school to help out at the library as Ronald continues complaining about their senior year being the same as any other. He dreams about being with the popular crowd and joining them in their parties. While heading home, they pass by a nerdy man with a cool car and a pretty girlfriend. Seeing this, Kenneth tells his friend that an expensive car is the way to gain popularity. Meanwhile, Cindy's mother heads out for a date. Before she leaves, Cindy asks to borrow her suede outfit for the party, but her mother refuses. Despite this, the teen takes the expensive outfit from her closet after she's gone. At dinner, Ronald happily shares with his parents that he saved up $1,500 for the telescope just by mowing lawns. Since the telescope only costs $1,000, he'll invest the rest. This makes his parents proud, though his little brother, Chucky, teases him for being a dork. Elsewhere, Cindy gets compliments due to her stylish outfit. However, one of the jocks, Quint, greets his friend, John, with a high five and accidentally spills his wine on her. She desperately tries to remove the stain in the bathroom, but it doesn't work. The next day, Ronald is at the mall to buy the telescope when he sees Cindy heading to a clothes store, looking troubled. Concerned, he follows her and overhears that she's trying to have the outfit exchanged for a new one. She even offers to work for the store in exchange, but the owner can only let her buy a new one for $1,000. Seeing an opportunity, Ronald looks back to the telescope store before calling for Cindy's attention. He offers to buy her the new outfit if she pretends to be his girlfriend to make him famous. Cindy initially refuses, but as Ronald walks away, she finally agrees. Soon, school starts and the two meet to discuss their plans. Cindy gives him a set of rules, but Ronald insists on getting his money's worth. After some haggling, the woman agrees to have lunch with him. She then fixes him up to make him look better as they walk together down the school hallway, catching the attention of the football players and cheerleaders. At lunch, Ronald joins Cindy at the popular kids' table, and when Quint tries to scare him off, the cheerleader defends him. Still, the others are weirded out by their new lunchmate, so Ronald tries to befriend them by talking about football, which works. After school, Cindy takes Ronald to a pizza place when the jocks also arrive. She instructs her new friend to invite the guys to join them to gain their favor. Ronald does this, but the guys just take all their pizza slices before returning to their table. On the weekend, Ronald tells his family that he's heading to a party with Cindy, which makes his brother suspicious. The man later picks up Cindy from home, though she complains that he didn't bring a car. She points out that she made so much effort to make him famous throughout the week, yet he can't be bothered to drive her to the party. Unbeknownst to them, Chucky is hiding nearby and hears Cindy's rant. Seeing her stressed, Ronald wonders if she's having trouble with Bobby as they get into her car. She avoids the topic, so he just assures her that her boyfriend hasn't had much free time since he's working on his football career. Cindy appreciates his concern, so she apologizes for complaining. Ronald then jokes that he should apologize for not bringing a car, excusing his inexperience in dating for it. This makes Cindy laugh, putting them in a good mood as they drive away. Upon arriving at the party, Cindy notices how the popular clique is starting to accept Ronald. Days later, Cindy is more friendly towards Ronald as she starts to feel more comfortable around him. In contrast, Kenneth is disappointed in his friend since he missed their game nights. Ronald apologizes and promises to hang out with his friend on Sunday. Kenneth agrees but still feels distant from his friend as he watches him greet the football players afterward. Later, Ronald offers to wash Cindy's car since she gave him a ride home. The woman compliments how hardworking he is, though this makes her reflect on how she practically does nothing else but cheerleading, shopping, and hanging out. Ronald encourages her to do whatever she wants, inspiring the lady. She goes to her room to retrieve the poem she wrote and lets Ronald read it. He thinks her work is beautiful and thanks her for trusting him with it. Cindy insists on keeping it a secret, so Ronald promises, though he thinks she shouldn't hide it since she's talented. As days go by, the nerdy teen continues to bond with the cheerleader, making Kenneth jealous. At the end of the month, Ronald takes Cindy to the airplane junkyard, letting her see the history they only read about in books. The lady gets fascinated as her guide enthusiastically talks about the stories behind the abandoned planes. At night, he lets her view space from his old telescope while he muses about the moon. They spend the night just gazing at the moon, allowing Cindy to appreciate something she had never noticed before. Just then, Ronald asks for her help with something, and the smitten woman leans forward expectantly. To her surprise, he just asks how they'll pretend to break up tomorrow since it's the end of their agreement. This disappoints Cindy, so she ends up ranting about people believing that they're dating, deflecting the budding emotion she's hiding. Ronald is oblivious to this and just becomes excited about his popularity. The next day, Cindy goes to school and asks Ronald to talk. Thinking that she wants to enact their breakup scene, he loudly starts a fight and accuses the lady of using him for his money. This humiliates Cindy, so she slaps him and storms off. Thinking that their mission was successful, Ronald later follows Cindy home. He believes her reaction earlier was an act, so he thanks her for making him popular. However, she points out that being popular is also tricky. For example, she recalls her mom's suede outfit that she used to impress people. Ultimately, it got her into trouble that she had to work for to save herself. With this in mind, Cindy advises him not to let his popularity change him. The man promises that he won't, but he breaks this promise the next day as he starts acting pompous. He even flirts with Barbara and Patty, which annoys Cindy. One night, he goes on a date with Barbara, unaware that Chucky is in his back seat. When Kenneth and their friends see Ronald using his dad's station wagon, they chuckle at the thought that the popular kids will ridicule his old car. To their surprise, the man smooth talks his way to make the vehicle sound practical for dates. Quint agrees, noting that there's a blanket in the backseat for some private time. However, this leads Ronald to discover his brother hiding under the blanket. With this, he positions John to release gas into the back seat, thus teaching Chucky a lesson for sneaking into the car. While Barbara goes to the ladies' room, Patty uses the chance to invite Ronald to the dance. He confidently agrees, though he realizes that he can't dance. Because of this, he watches a musical show on TV the next day to practice. When his brother walks in, Ronald leaves, embarrassed to be seen. This allows Chucky to see the end of the program and discover that he's been copying a cultural dance instead of a modern one, making the kid laugh. On the day of the dance, Ronald gets nervous before going to the dance floor. With eyes closed, he visualizes the show while mimicking the steps he learned. He doesn't notice people staring at his weird moves, and the crowd gathers to watch him. Confused, the popular clique copies his moves out of curiosity. Seeing that the dance is actually fun, everyone copies Ronald as well. This upsets Cindy, so she leaves. After the party, the gang hangs out at the ice cream shop. Ronald approaches Cindy, but she's pissed about his obnoxious persona. She tells him to return to his friends, but he argues that he's only friends with them because of her. The woman scoffs, refusing to take credit for his attitude and how everyone lines up behind him like zombies. With that, she walks away, leaving Ronald frustrated. Later, Ronald finally has some privacy with Patty in his car. The woman uses the chance to tempt him, and though the man is distracted at first, he quickly gets captivated by her, unaware that his brother is still hiding in the back seat. On Halloween, Ronald goes with Quint and John, who plan to do some pranks around the neighborhood. They tell him that they've been pranking one house yearly, though they don't tell him it's Kenneth's home. While they're on the way, Kenneth helps his father set up traps for the pranksters. Meanwhile, Cindy and her friends argue about Ronald since Barbara wants her turn to date the guy. Cindy sarcastically comments that her friend's treatment of the man is romantic. Her mood sours further when Patty hints that she already got some private time with Ronald. The men soon arrive at Kenneth's house, but Ronald tries to discourage them from pranking his friend's home. John and Quint don't listen, so they urge the new guy to carry out their plan. Afraid that his popular friends will ditch him, Ronald hesitantly makes a mess of the front door. However, this leads him to get caught by Kenneth's trap. Kenneth goes to the culprit but freezes upon seeing his old friend, so he allows Ronald to escape. When school starts again, Ronald tries to apologize to Kenneth, but his friend ignores him. Quint and John catch him talking to the other man, so he lies that he was rejecting Kenneth from the New Year's Eve party. Just then, they see another classmate, Iris, eyeing Ronald, so the jocks leave him to make a move. Instead, Cindy approaches Ronald first. The woman hopes that she and Ronald can be friends again, adding that she wrote a new poem that she wants him to read. However, the newly popular guy rejects her, noting that she's ignored him for years but now wants him. Offended, Cindy walks off. The guilty Ronald tries to follow her, only for Iris to block him. On the night of the party, Cindy drinks too much to forget her sorrows. She looks for a room to rest, but ends up overhearing Ronald reciting her poem to get Iris in a romantic mood. Heartbroken, Cindy leaves. As the night progresses, Bobby arrives, surprising his friends. He notices Ronald and Iris together, so Quint explains that the man has become popular with the ladies and even got together with Cindy. This angers Bobby, so he confronts a drunken Cindy and breaks up with her before leaving. Enraged, Cindy screams at Ronald for ruining her life. As revenge, she reveals to everyone how the man paid her to make him famous, then makes fun of everyone for mindlessly following him. This effectively ruins Ronald's reputation, so he awkwardly leaves the party while everyone ignores him. The lonely man goes home and sleeps in the garage to avoid his family, mourning for losing all his friends. When school starts again, Ronald tries to act like everything is normal, but both the popular crowd and the outcasts avoid him. He even becomes a laughingstock during lunch. At the pizza place after school, Barbara and Patty notice Ronald's car passing by and mock him. However, Cindy points out that they were fighting over him weeks ago, making them quiet down. Ronald heads to the arcade to make amends with Kenneth, but his friend shoves him and yells at him for pranking his house. This makes Ronald leave in tears. The next day, Ronald tries to make amends with Cindy, but she hides in the ladies' room. Still, he tries to follow her but gets caught by the principal, thus earning him detention. In another attempt, he calls Cindy's house, but she refuses to take it. This makes her mother worry about her friendship with Ronald, so Cindy half-heartedly explains that the man is back to being a geek at school. The older woman then asks who decides that, making the cheerleader captain think. Unable to reach her any other way, Ronald takes his lawnmower to Cindy's lawn one morning and loudly drives it to get her attention. Ronald begs her to hear him out, explaining that though she ruined him during the party, she actually brought him back to reality by revealing his lies. Now he recalls that all he really wanted was to be close to Cindy, and he thought popularity was the way to get it. He ended up getting sidetracked by his popular persona, so now he begs Cindy for a chance to be friends with the real him again. Sympathizing with him, the woman agrees to give him a chance. The next day at school, the jock notices Kenneth sitting with the cheerleaders, unaware that Patty actually asked his help for her math test. Thinking that the nerd is trying to do what Ronald did, Quint threatens him. Seeing this, Ronald takes a bat to defend his friend. He slams the bat on the table and threatens to break Quint's arm. He then reminds the jock that they helped him go to the hospital after he broke his arm when they were kids. Yet now, he's threatening Kenneth just for talking to Patty. He points out how stupid their division between outcasts and popular kids works, having seen the world from both sides. Using Kenneth helping out Patty as an example, Ronald argues that it's tough to be themselves, and the whole clique system just makes it more complicated. With that, he returns the bat to Quint and leaves, quietly gaining the respect of the school again as the jock apologizes to Kenneth. Soon, Ronald is back to mowing Cindy's lawn and tries to invite her to watch the moon tonight. Just then, Cindy's popular friends arrive to pick her up and she goes to them instead. Before driving away, Barbara and Patty wave at Ronald as the teen has redeemed himself to their school. After they leave, Ronald drives his lawnmower home, feeling dejected. To his surprise, Cindy calls him and her friends support her as she chooses to join the nerdy kid tonight instead. The two then share a kiss as they drive into the sunset.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.